GamingBolt presents 14 acts of real-life heroism made possible by video games. Video games are always blamed for desensitizing us to violence or causing some lunatic to go on a shooting spree, but what isn't talked about enough is how sometimes they can save lives. No, we're not talking about saving virtual lives, we mean human lives in the real world. Here are 14 such examples. World of Warcraft saves boy's life. In 2007, a 12-year-old Norwegian boy, Hans-Jørgen Olsen, was going for a walk in the woods with his sister. Apparently, they did something to anger a nearby moose. Yes, a moose. The moose went after the boy's sister, so the kid started making noise and attracted it. Then he fell to the ground and pretended he was dead, confusing the moose and causing it to flee. The kid later said he learned the move from World of Warcraft. Experienced raiders could probably attest to the validity of this tactic. Counter-Strike teaches kids about grenades. 3 kids in the Philippines apparently found a live grenade while exploring a junkyard in 2012. One of the kids didn't know what it was and tried to polish it with oil. That's when one of the kids saw it and warned the others not to play with it. He later said that he knew what it was because he recognized it from Counter-Strike. Mario Kart Driving Simulator. In 2013, a woman was driving her great-grandkids, a 10-year-old named Griffin Sanders and his 4-year-old brother. Suddenly, the woman collapsed of a heart attack, and that's when 10-year-old Griffin sprang into action. He grabbed the wheel of the car and steered it into the shoulder. He couldn't reach the brake, so he had to wait for the car to come to a stop in the mud of the road. He later said he learned how to steer thanks to Mario Kart. Twitch stream airs Robbery. 2 players were live streaming themselves playing Dota 2 when there was a knock at their door. One of them went to answer it when 2 armed men entered the home and tried to rob them. Several people watching the live stream called the police. The 2 men were going to keep one of them held hostage while the other went to the bank to get the money when the police showed up and arrested the burglars. Grand Theft Auto saves kid. This is pretty much the same situation as the Mario Kart kid. A child named Charlie Cullen was driving with his grandpa in a car when the grandpa suddenly passes out. The kid grabbed the wheel and turned it, avoiding a head-on collision at the last second. He steered the car into a ditch when it came to a halt. Afterward, he said he didn't panic because he knew how to steer a bit from Grand Theft Auto. A bit. Yeah, sure, Charlie. Remission teaches about cancer. There's a video game created by doctors and scientists called Remission, and a sequel called Remission 2. The game is made for kids suffering through cancer, and it teaches them what's happening. It is designed to make the kids feel empowered while also teaching them about cancer and the recovery process. The website of the game claims that the game is scientifically proven to improve health outcomes for young people suffering with cancer. Gran Turismo saves dude from deadly grasshopper? A user going by the handle of D-Juxtaposition gave his account of how a grasshopper almost killed him. He says a grasshopper landed on his windshield, and as he turned on the wipers to clear it, he lost sight of the road and went off. The car started rolling down a hill, and he was about to crash into a tree at a fence. Recalling a similar situation happening in a recent game of Gran Turismo, he eased the brakes and turned the wheel to slide. He turned it again to end up parallel to another road. Fast and Furious 8 hired this man. Folding at home helped researching. The old PlayStation 3 game program, Folding at Home, was a tool that used the processing power of the PS3 to help research and fight diseases such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and cancer. The program would run simulations of what's known as protein folding, which many scientists believe is the key to curing several diseases. Thanks in part to gamers using the application on the PS3, researchers were able to run even more simulations and collect more data. Grand Theft Auto teaches the value of emergency brakes. An attorney named Dan Johnson claimed in 2005 that playing GTA Liberty City trained him to use his emergency brake in one life-threatening situation. He was going too fast up a snowy ramp, as you usually do, when the car started to slide. He was in danger of rolling over the railing and his brakes weren't doing anything, so he says he instinctively pulled the emergency brake, something he did in GTA all the time, which stopped the car. Game developer teams up with medical researchers. Developer Akili Interactive Labs teamed up with Pfizer to conduct a study using Akili's mobile game, Project Evo. The game was given to several groups as a test to see who has or may develop things like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. In the game, you move an alien down a slide and have to avoid obstacles, and it gets harder as the game goes on. As the researchers put it, it's built on an adaptive algorithm, so it gets faster, slower, harder, easier, depending on the user's progress, so it's personalized. Depending on how well someone does, researchers hope it can act as a screening test. Tekken teaches fighting skills. A pair of Tekken players successfully fought off would-be robbers at a gaming cafe in Hawaii at 2010. If that's not the setup for a popular Hollywood film, we don't know what is. The duo used various fighting moves they learned from the fighting game to dispatch the thieves. Why anyone would rob a gaming cafe is a question that still remains to be answered. Avoiding a brutal accident. A truck in Canada was carrying 30 metric tons of sand when it jackknifed on the snowy roads. The truck actually crashed through the barrier between highways. A man was driving his car with a dashboard camera and caught the crash when the truck suddenly headed his way. He immediately eased the car to the right and avoided not only the truck, but any other traffic on the snowy roads. He later said, "Everything seemed to slow down, and I think all those years playing video games as a kid finally paid off." Nintendo Wii helps man walk again. Say what you will about the Nintendo Wii, but it's perhaps the only gaming console that helped a paralyzed man walk again. In 2009, David Carpin suffered a stroke that left him unable to walk. Doctors said he'd never regained the ability to move, but he didn't let that deter him. He volunteered for a special research project that used the Wii as a development tool, and it worked. Thanks to the motion controls and the Wii Fit board, Carpin was able to regain the use of his legs. Xbox Live saves depressed boy's life. This is a strange story, unlike all the others obviously, involving two teenage kids chatting over Xbox Live. A Canadian was talking to his friend living in Texas over the service when he heard his friend saying he was feeling depressed. The kid said he was feeling pretty down on himself, pretty worthless. The Canadian boy went to get his parents, who called the police. A cop showed up with a crisis negotiator, and together the three talked to the Texas boy for 2 hours trying to gain his trust. They were finally able to convince him to get his dad and told him what was going on, and he was relieved to hear his son was safe. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time.